welcome to episode 187 of the Planet Destiny podcast. We have with us today, I'm Danfinity. I'll be the supplemental TBL today. Nick, up on our panel here, we have Aura. He's just gonna smile. Just gonna smile at you. Look at him, just smiling. For those of you listening at home, this is great radio.
Oh, yeah.
Hi.
We have the better Aura, BlueMoxie.
Oh my god.
What's up?
And we have our guest, Nick Regis, aka Niris, on Twitter. He makes the Destiny infographics each week. Hello, welcome to the show, man.
What's up? How you guys doing?
Doing well, can't complain. How was everybody's week in Destiny?
I've got a story for you.
Okay.
Ordinary. It's been good. Not,
Yeah?
I mean, up until Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
When you know,
With
new
Anthem?
games.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, new games came out, but no, everything good. I mean, one more exotic to fill in there before I complete all of them for Forsaken. So.
Ooh, man, that's awesome.
I need that Phoenix Protocol back.
It's a good one too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Blue,
I heard
what about
it'll let you get too comfortable though. So.
Oh, okay. For all you Warlock guys.
Yeah.
I'm a warlock guy now.
You're a Warlock guy now?
Yeah, I'm a warlock guy
How'd
now.
that happen?
Well, ever since I made a warlock, everything in the planet's been dropping for me. So I'm a warlock guy now.
You're a
My
warlock guy
RNG has
now?
improved significantly since making a warlock.
You're gonna
That's
make
real.
You're gonna make the guy on YouTube who's like, every time you badmouth Warlocks, it just makes us stronger. You're gonna make that guy very, very disappointed now, because now since you've joined the Warlock team.
I can't help it.
Yeah.
So,
What happened this week?
well, we ran a raid Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
I Sherpa'd my first encounter with a bunch of my friends, and we did the first encounter. I always call the boss Khalil Mack. I know that's not their name, but like I just forget what their name is, so I just call it Khalil Mack. So we fought Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Chicago Bears, and we beat Khalil Mack, and the ghost shell dropped for me.
Yeah.
Oh.
The raid ghost shell, which
Okay.
apparently is pretty rare.
Yeah.
People will tell me that it's been
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
hard
yeah.
to grab anything in terms of cosmetics from anywhere on the planet. To be honest with you, anywhere in the entire universe.
Yeah, the ship and
So
the
we
ghost,
got the ghost
right?
shell from the raid,
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
and then
neat.
I played Gambit.
Yeah.
Played some Gambit this week, and after the first game, the Ursas dropped on my Titan.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of cool. And then, like, not even 3 games later, I killed a trash mob, and the one-eyed mask dropped.
Oh my gosh.
I got the Ursa and the one-eyed mask within maybe an hour of each other. So then I promptly deleted both because I don't need those.
Yeah. You just deleted your Titan altogether too, I'm guessing.
Chat was pretty upset when that happened. They weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't too thrilled about it.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I don't use the one-eyed mask. I don't need it. Do
Yeah.
marchers. That's it.
Yeah. That's it. Done.
That's it. They're so good.
It's the only
They're
exotic.
so good. I don't know why. I don't know why every Titan doesn't use them. They're that good. So I just went ahead and deleted the one. I don't need to overshield and heal right away and see everybody on the map, watch them shower. It's weird to me. It's weird that ability exists in an exotic. I just don't understand
Look,
why
man,
Bungie
it was
would do something like that.
it was made for a very specific person. And I mean, you just might not be that person, are
I'm not that person. Same thing with Quiz Invest. I'll never use it. You guys are bad people.
Nope, we're good people. Anyways, Blue, how was your weekend this week?
Yeah, pretty ordinary. Nothing that good. I don't have any RNG drops. Did a raid, you know, the usual stuff. I don't have any cool stories, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm lame.
No, it's
But
okay.
I don't. Nothing cool. I already have like. I think I'm missing like 2 exotics.
Yeah.
So.
Ever? All of all
Yeah.
time?
Yeah, I have pretty good RNG. Like back from when I played in D1, people get mad at me a lot because I just stuff drops for me.
My Warlock has like one exotic, and it's like Skull of Hamkara or something.
Actually, I was thinking along exotics. I got a this is last week though, but I got a Orchid with Drop Mag, Rampage, and what's the other one? Outlaw. That's pretty
Ugh.
good. It's a good gun. Yeah,
Ugh.
it's a good gun.
All right, so this is BlueMoxie's last time on the show, ladies and gentlemen.
As I said, stuff just drops for me. I suck at the game, but I get everything. I'm not good at the game.
I don't have to do anything. It just kind of drops.
Yeah, falls right in his lap. He's
nice.
the
wait. Are you the guy who just kind of puts one bullet in it then and waits for everybody else?
No.
Okay.
I try. There's effort.
Yeah.
I don't
This
like the Orchid. I don't like the Nation of Beasts either.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm programmed to what's the primary one from the first raid? The kinetic from the first raid.
Oh,
Midnight Coup.
Midnight Coup, yeah.
I don't know if I'm just
Oh.
programmed to Midnight Coup when it comes to hand cannons or the Lunas, like the Trust. But
Yeah.
for some reason, anything else, I've really struggled to hit my shots with.
Nation of the
Nation
Beast is
of the Beast is a good
interesting. Yeah, it's a great gun, especially if you get the raid roll. The raid roll
I have-
is amazing.
Rampage,
Fake
something
bringer?
or other on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I have
they
a
say
really
it's
good
like
roll, but I
Fate Bringer.
can't hit anything with it.
I don't know
Sounds
if I
like
want
good
that
as-
though, because I have so many memories of Fatebringer, you know. And I don't know if I want to like, oh, I took Fatebringer and then I get it. I'm like, this isn't like Fatebringer. This isn't
It
that
is.
at all.
It's kind of like Fatebringer, though. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And
It's entirely situational.
Exactly. Well, so guys, Nick is here. Nick, thank you so much for being a guest tonight on the show.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Maybe for people who don't know you all that well,
That's me.
introduce yourself. What do you do in the Destiny community, and how have you come to be the icon that you are in the infographic field for Destiny 2?
Yeah, so I am Niris or Niris. There is no correct pronunciation on it. You feel free to pronounce that however you want.
Okay.
That's the reason behind that name, actually. But yeah, I create infographics for the Destiny community.
Mhm.
It originally started out just as a weekly reset type of a thing
Mhm.
I wanted to do. I played Destiny 1. I wasn't super into it from a lore and min-maxing perspective.
Mhm.
You know, kind of getting all the secrets and everything like that. I remember Sleeper when I grabbed that, and a few other instances. I think I got Thorn in there. But I wasn't as diehard. I played the shit out of the game, but other than that, it wasn't much. So when D2 came around, I know I wanted to do something for the community as a designer. So weekly reset being a thing, I was like, oh, okay, I can put out a static graphic every week that just kind of highlights the things that people need to complete. And then as the game went on, it got bigger and more things started coming into the reset, more powerful engrams, more everything that you could earn. It became, pretty clear that the onboarding of Destiny is lacking, I think, for some new Guardians.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that people had a hopping on place to, easily level up and see what they can do in a week, any given week. Or when Xur comes around, and then, the heroic activations were a thing, still are a thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's so many people who still do not know how to properly
They happen
activate.
at random, Dan.
Yeah, they happen completely at random.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man, that guy. Yeah.
Oh,
So I needed, I very much enjoy taking a lot of information and condensing it into a super legible format. And when it can be done with something that I'm super passionate about and I love, and has a lot of numbers and things surrounding it like Destiny does, I can create some pretty awesome stuff. So
Heck yeah, and you've worked with some interesting people too. Like you worked
Yeah.
with Drewski on the mods and cooldowns.
what worked
Chart.
with is yes. he put out something. I think it was just a spreadsheet, and I was like, hey, I do this, but visually
Yeah.
pleasing. Do you mind if I take your info and put it into a better format? And he was cool with that. So and Bife and I did some work that nobody will ever know about now after it's been out, because that was the video that he, I hate to use the word that broke him or whatever, but that was the one that, you know what I mean, that he questioned and everything, and then went back and took down and did his whole thing, which he's doing awesome shit.
Absolutely.
He's got his schedule and everything now laid out. So that really helped him a lot. I have an infographic in that video that is gone now. So.
I like it. So
Um,
what makes you like view the game this way? Like,
honestly, I'm that's an interesting question. I'm not even sure really, because I think I'm about judo solutions,
mhm,
maximum efficiency with minimal effort. So it's kind of like shortcuts. How can I find the quickest way from point A to point B? That's not necessarily like speed running anything.
mhm,
That's just like, what is the, when you set out for your week to attain whatever goal you're going after or whatever drops you want, you kind of, the ones who really want to go after it sit down and do a strategy, and they write a schedule, and they're like, okay, I'm going to go do this first, and then I'm going to go do that, and then I'm going to hit the forge, and then I'm going to, use the kills in there for this bounty. And
mhm,
so my brain kind of sees that in a picture or in a,
mhm.
in a design. And then I know that information is helpful to people. So I just want the information to go around outside of a text format or word of mouth,
Mhm.
so.
So you did the cooldowns with the grenade melee with the mods and stuff like that Drewski did.
I did.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Like your brain works in a way that my brain can't even imagine, let alone picture, let alone put into a picture that makes any kind of sense.
Yep.
Like for me, it would just be like putting my finger in like finger paint and like see where it splatters and lands. If you've ever watched the stream, you probably have a good idea of that kind of thing. That's really neat. And on behalf of the community, thank you for doing stuff like that. What are you going to get into next? Is Anthem going to be something that you take this information with because of all the min-maxing that occurs in?
We'll see when the game comes out, certainly. If something, so you know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of why I've played both the alpha and the beta or the demo. Words are important, folks.
Yeah.
Words.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing in there right now currently that I saw that would lend itself well to that, kind of thinking. However, these dungeons, given that there was no real specific way that activated, similar to a heroic activation, I don't know. There's nothing right now that's showing me. Somebody already mocked one up for elements and how they apply to the blasters and stuff like that, grenades. But yeah, I like to go into the stuff that's not really well known, stuff you can't get in game, or unless you're really paying attention to a lot of things and kind of take mental notes to that stuff. So
heck yeah. What's your earliest art memory?
Earliest art memory's gotta be sitting in middle school just drawing Ninja Turtles and Deadpools and all sorts of things, knowing that someday I wanted to do something and thought I was going to be this huge artist or painter or something, and then not drawing for the longest time. Except now I draw in all rectangles and menus and stuff because I do UX. So that also kind of lends itself to this thought pattern of what clicks in video games, because I like good experiences. So I think anytime you can help an experience get a little better or easier or more efficient for any user, no matter what it is, saving them a click or a route from A to B, a la the Return to Ada for like that's a user experience that needs to get improved. So
absolutely.
But it's like those kind of things. But yeah, a lot of doodling are definitely my earliest ones, and then the early cover art that I would do for artists and music and mixtape stuff like that. Clip art abound.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. So what kind of artists were you working with when you're doing that that cover art kind of work?
Primarily it was myself and the guys that I worked with. And that's how it all started. I was sick of paying people for graphic work. So I was like, okay, well I'm gonna just do it myself. Figured it out, did it, and I had a 12-year music career prior to what I do now. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I saw your video, Dan, on the guitar, or your tweet about having a familiarity with being an entertainer.
Oh yeah,
and that helps in this. And I was like, yo, that really resonated with me because I DJ'd for many years, and that helps a ton.
Absolutely, man. We're gonna have to talk about this later. But
yes.
So what classes do you normally run when you play Destiny 2?
Oh, so I kind of bounce between a few. It is becoming increasingly difficult to play all three classes now. Oh man, it's honestly, I can't even say I will say I started to main Titan again, I think. I think.
Okay. Is that the only one you touch all week?
Yeah, well, right. So it turned into one of those things where, okay, I forgot how to exploit the power leveling before raid. So I did raid day 1 and got my hunter up to a certain level. So then my hunter was maxed out on, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't need to go back and play the hunter anymore. So let me start working on the other characters. And I needed the exotics. And then once the one-eyed, back to what we were talking about here. You're gonna hate me, or once that one-eye dropped, there was no turning back, man.
It's funny that you say like it's kind of hard to maintain 3 characters until one reaches max.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's nothing to really do on that character except for hunt exotics, which you only really go about by basically playing the game. I've gotten more exotics from trash mobs than any one milestone, but they say that the way to pursue it is to chase milestones and whatnot. Yeah, so I've got all 3 characters are 650. I have all the exotics for my hunter except for the Gwizin, all the exotics for the Titan except for the Antaeus wards, and I have like 3 exotics on my Warlock. So now I find myself playing Warlock more often,
right?
Because I still have to rank up the supers. I just got the Chaos Reach today, which I'm awful with. I can't. Luckily, it's the wall, because if I was aiming for the wall, I don't know what I would hit because I can't aim it at all. It's terrible.
You put those geomags on it.
I have to get. That's what I was out there trying to hunt. Geomags. There's one other exotic that reloads things inside the Well of Radiance, so I was looking for that. But I have that the Tempest helmet, helmet,
Chrono Tempest,
and I was able to wipe a team and get back to the other spawn with still be my Stormcaller today a few times. If you have a grenade and your melee fully charged, it'll last 20 years. It feels like.
Oh yeah.
But
that's the other thing. Like you're talking about quest completion percentage. Attributes to who I'm gonna play that week. Like right now, my Luna's hero quest in Crucible is 40% on Hunter, I think, and 13 on Titan. But I have a one-eyed, so
that trade-off is happening real quick.
Right? It's like, yeah, do I go back and play? Because I don't enjoy playing it on my Hunter. It's a Hunter shit show.
Whoa.
It's a Gwizin Fest Spectral Blades. Yeah, to be specific.
Well, and a bunch of one-eyed. So I'm like, if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah. Dude, so. Spectral Blade's a lot of fun with Gwizin, and
dude, at any one given moment, there's 3 or 4 on a team in Crucible right now.
Yeah,
and they come wave after wave, and they last 2 or 3 spawns in a row, and nobody will team shoot. Everyone just tries to run away from the one super on the planet you can't run away from.
Well, you don't have to team shoot anymore, right? Like Crucible's all different now, right? You don't have to team shoot at all.
It's a little bit different.
It depends on the map, I'd say, and your teammates, but.
Yeah. When people do team shoot, they're shooting the guy with the Ursas. So.
Super right back. That's funny.
But no, I used a main Warlock, but then they nerfed my Phoenix Dive, and I play a lot of Crucible, so it became not as viable for me to run anymore because I kind of tank as a Warlock. So that quick buff of health let me do some pretty cool shit, and now I can't anymore. So
I've fallen in love with Ionic Blink. Nobody ever. The one thing about Warlocks is nobody ever expects you to just back up.
Yep.
Like something as trivial as just moving backwards. How many times I get rushed with someone with a shotgun out? How many times I get pushed by a Titan who thinks he's gonna do something? I don't know what I played a couple players say I just don't know what they were thinking, and all I do is back up. I played against a couple of supers. And as they advance for their shot, whether it's Nova Warp or whether it's Titan Slam, just Ionic Blink backwards, come right back up. They can't recover in time to do any more damage. I babied a few supers this week just by using Ionic Blink. And I feel like not a lot of, for some reason, like Chaos Reach is a Crucible super. It just doesn't feel that way to me. It feels like a DPS PvE.
Yeah.
It was really fun in Blind Well when you're shooting at an ogre. You can't
Gambit.
miss no matter what.
People use it to
I wouldn't
melt
put that
Gambit.
one in Crucible.
Yeah.
I've seen people use it in Crucible, and I'm like, what?
Mostly my teammates that do that.
Out here just throwing Kamea waves left and right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I feel like when you talk about it's like I said, it's maintaining 3 characters is problematic until you get there, and then the game kind of becomes a little bit dry. Even with Black Armory being something that's a consistent farm for weapons and armor, even depending on if you get the whatever the consumable is that guarantees you a piece of armor. There's not much really pushes. I don't know. I just feel like Scourge of the Past doesn't bring players back to raiding the way that Last Wish did, or even the way that Leviathan did. Even maybe Argos brought more players to raids than I see.
Yeah.
And I'm not like completely disconnected from the PvE community, but maybe I'm just not looking in the right places. I just don't see a lot of Scourge.
Yeah, I haven't played a lot of it. I think I've gone in there like a handful of times and maybe and completed it once. But like I know the encounters fairly well. I know that if I wanted to jump in, I could do it again. It's just other than the shotgun, the rewards aren't like I don't know if it's like a conversation about meaningful rewards or not. Like outside.
Yeah,
is it a fun factor? Is it just not fun?
See, I think there are parts of that raid that are way fun. You have the Sparrow Racing section. Like you have the initial set when you see the big boss at the end. I feel like there are fun things in that raid, and I feel like the amount of teamwork that you need for certain things, especially the opening and the midsection in order to get the tanks. I feel like that's really interesting. I just don't find myself going back to it. I don't find myself having a need to do that when I know that I could do Last Wish and have a better shot at more gear that I feel is better.
Yeah. Do we know the curated roles on all the Scourge weapons yet?
I think the only one people talk about is threat level.
I heard about
I got the fusion.
Curated because that has what backup plan and something.
It's comparable to like the loaded question.
I think you're spot on, Dan. Kind of. I mean, the majority of that raid I think is a lot of fun. I think you get to the end and the fun's over.
It's fun, yeah, but it doesn't feel like a raid.
Yeah. Well, there's that part of it too. But
to me,
yeah, I mean, it's definitely a Crota. It's like a Crota. Outside of
Crota at the end, felt more like a raid than Crota at the beginning, but
yeah,
and they told us that. But again, I maybe I just take Bungie's word a bit with too much weight. Like when they. I go back to Oryx and when normal mode came out and they were like, bro, we designed hard mode and we had to scale it back for normal mode. And I remember them talking about hard mode coming and I was like, dude, what are they going to do on the tomb ships? They're going to do things to knock us off the tomb ship, that crazy tomb ship jumping that everyone skipped over anyway. Like, what are they going to do? Are there going to be like 20 ogres that drop bombs? Like, what's going to happen? And we got there and there was like 3 changes. Like there was a yellow bar knight.
Yeah.
There was like
they removed the ledge.
Knights that disarmed the bomb. And I was like, I don't even remember what happened at Golgoroth.
Golgoroth was the exploding head.
That was it?
I think
so.
Well,
that killed probably more fire teams than anything else, honestly.
Yeah.
So I feel like when they talked about Scourge, they were like, oh, it's bigger than a layer, but it's smaller than Last Wish. And I was like, that's still a comparable sized raid in my head. But when I went through and I experienced it, I was like, this feels more like a strike than Argos or even Spire of Stars.
I think it's one of those things where it doesn't really have a mid-boss fight. Like, you have Morgoth during Last Wish. That's definitely a mid-boss fight. You have in King's Fall, you have Golgoroth, you have the War Priest, you have those encounters to kind of fight through, as well as do mechanics. And in the raids that we have now, or like in Scourge of the Past, there's not really that. There's a lot of like mobs coming at you.
I couldn't even feel like there was a lot of mobs coming at me. It felt like there was.
So,
yeah,
if you look at it, because I think you're onto something right there. Like the mid boss fights and stuff. That's what makes a raid, because Vogue at least had the Templar and all that, and then even the Gorgon, at least the Gorgon maze, at least that was something, right?
Yeah.
But then so let's go to D2. Leviathan had what?
4 different
counters leading up to
no bosses. No
well,
bosses.
but the boss had 3 phases if you didn't one phase him.
Yeah,
fine, but I mean, up to that, you're jumping through things and running from dogs and hiding, and then Eater of Worlds or whatever. That wasn't really, very short. It's more fun to fly through space and dodge asteroids than it is to do other things.
Yeah.
And then Spire, there's no mid bosses in that either.
There's a beginning where you're charging the plates. You got to jump through the jumping puzzle with the propellers. After that, there was the getting to the boss, and then the boss fight itself. But Spire had so many moving mechanics and parts. Like it was a labor intensive experience, and I just don't feel like you get that labor intensive experience. But actually, Spire might have the most action out of all of them in one concentrated area. With
absolutely, it does.
That
boss fight
raid was nuts. Now I finally understand it.
Yeah. I had to be told what corner to stand in. It's like
right.
But I think you're onto something with the boss fights. I think that's very important to the raids, because Last Wish has that, and that feels more like a D1 raid than any of them. And then you go to Scourge, which it's very short. And the thing is, it doesn't do it in itself any favors. The fact that you have that nothing until spring. There's no more raids until spring. You know, so it doesn't do itself any favors with that either. But
and what raid are we going to get? What level of raid are we going to get in spring? Because if they deliver another layer type atmosphere, I'm hoping there's something bigger up their sleeves. It can't be another Last Wish, right?
I think it's contingent upon where they go with the story at this point.
Yeah, what makes sense is Savathun, right? But is that too big for that? Is that
in the spring? You think it would be Savathun? Because would it come with Penumbra?
I would think it would be probably Scourge size.
No, Penumbra is summer, isn't it?
Yeah, Penumbra is summer. We have right now. We're in the we have the season.
Still have Black Armory till the end of February.
Yeah, the Black Armory till the end of February. Then you have Season of the Drifter coming March to May, and then May until
June until so it'd be February, March, April, May for Drifter,
and then June until
June, July, August.
Whenever we get the rest of whatever we're getting this September, if we're getting anything, that will be Penumbra in the season of Redacted. So my guess is that it would probably be Scourge sized, and that I wouldn't expect.
So it can be Scourge size. It can be that, because if you go back and you look at Eater of Worlds, and I actually like it.
Yeah.
Eater of Worlds is basically 2 things. Like the jumping puzzle, if they didn't exist, the raid would be over in 15 minutes. They put that there simply as a time gauge, because that's the only reason it's there.
Yep.
So you go past that encounter, you kill a couple of mobs, and then you jump down through the gun, which was amazing. And then it becomes all hell breaks loose. And disarming the mines and defending the platforms is one of my favorite. Like, it reminds me so much of Confluxes, and Confluxes was so action-packed. It's probably my favorite encounter out of all raids ever in Destiny's history, is defending the Confluxes, which I don't even think you got a reward for. I don't think anything dropped for that. That unlocked the
that unlocked
so
the
it was the hardest thing to do. Most teams fell apart at that point. That was the most fun I've ever had in a raid. That's what Eater of Worlds reminds me. It doesn't need to be long, but if it offers this instance, and this is just the way my brain works, where I am just running and gunning, every shot counts. I have to kill a ton of things for our team to survive. I enjoy that. There are people that enjoy the puzzle side of things and the figuring things out and being in the right position. That's not me. I am that jackass that just wants to kill a ton of things. Like, that's where I fit in this world. That's why that was the best for me. So if it is Scourge size, that's okay, but give me some action. Give me some action.
Give you a mid boss. That's all you need.
Is it even a mid boss? It's because
the man just wants a mid boss.
Well,
Just give him a mid
Morgoth
boss. I
really
mean,
isn't.
I would.
This like you can use the Whisper of the Worm or the Thunderlord in basically one
Yeah.
phase easily. Now
I
you
get-
can even use the shotgun.
Would you count Shirochi as maybe more of a mid boss then?
Yeah, that's way more labor intensive. That's pretty action packed. That's probably among my favorite encounters at Last Wish because
Yeah.
You gotta get that rhythm going.
yeah, it was really that's a really fun encounter. I'd say that's more mid
Yeah.
boss. I mean, without a doubt, like by definition, I'm sure Morgoth is, but
Yeah.
there's like 15.
that's a great question. Is it though? Like, because of the other encounter, like, I think they're all pretty involved.
Well, they're
I mean,
all
that would-
like mechanics revolving around
Mhm.
a like a
That
boss
one
who
only
really
lasts
doesn't do
longer.
much.
Right, because that one that was where it's going. It only lasts as long as it does because of the timer they put on it, and then that you can't do damage until you break shield. So,
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
who is the mid boss on Last Wish?
You have a couple. I think Shuro is one of them. I think.
Yeah, I was
Morgoth
gonna
is the
say
other.
that, and then Morgoth.
And like Riven's your final encounter, but Riven's broken up between two different
Right.
phases of it, including running away kind of thing.
Right.
I don't know who was the studio who did Last Wish. Was that
Last Wish was Bungie, I believe.
Yeah.
Like I
such
think,
a good, such a good raid.
yeah, I know. I think Jogaroth was in charge of that that whole
I
thing.
really
It
like
is a good raid.
the what's necessary for team callouts though on Scourge, like that level of
The map was awesome.
like
It was
everybody
so
Yeah.
cool.
everybody needs to do, you know what I mean? It's not your like, oh, you sit here and kill ads
Right.
type of thing. You
Right.
can't, you got to split up into two teams and go do stuff. Everybody needs to be involved, and then the fact that everybody needs to clear comms and somebody needs to be making call outs and the right call outs, and I really enjoyed that one from a communications perspective. Like if you weren't getting comms right, you weren't getting past that
Yeah.
first encounter.
So let me ask you this: as a designer, when I was going back through the story, when I moved to PC off of console, and I'm going through the city, I'm seeing the attention to detail. There's like carpets, there's rugs, there's all these ornate wrought iron, there's these lanterns, there's all this stuff that makes the city gorgeous. We get into Scourge in the first area, and you're seeing all of that. You're experiencing as you're running. You're seeing, especially the tower. I forget what it's called. There's something.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the Schnell.
Gorgeous,
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
neon and the lighting. And as you're progressing, you go through the sewers, and then you end up at the final encounter where it's just this destroyed, rubble, deserted, like just annihilated area. I wanted more of the first part of the city than that. I felt like the graphic work that was in the beginning encounter was so gorgeous. Then, and I don't know if it's because I just want to like get a broom and sweep Mars and like clean it up, if that's a part of it or what.
You just want to pound some carpets.
I just
Right.
want to
What's
like
that,
I just want to get like a carpet cleaner and a vacuum and a dust like a Swiffer, and just kind of like clean it up a little bit. Like as a designer, like which one did you favor and kind of shed some light on why you would progress the raid from a design standpoint in that manner?
Well, some of it might be due to the you know technical side of it, like all that neon, if it was still present while particle artifacts are going on from everybody's abilities, while bullets are firing, while all of this crazy shit is happening everywhere. You know, who knows what that does for a console, let alone what it would do for our machines.
Look at that Crucible map, Midtown. Is that the one with a rug shop and everything?
Yeah, there
What
you
if they
go.
had something like that, right? Put some ads in there. That's not
Yeah.
too taxing.
Tone it down a little bit. Yeah. But yes, your point, I removed neon from the question and still absolutely valid there. I think it depends on, I don't know. This is a part of design that I'm not familiar with from a storytelling perspective, because all of my stuff is you know, based on journeys, user journeys, you know, like if I'm trying to get them to convert on X, you know, whatever that might be, mine is not based on what is the feeling we want to evoke while players are doing this thing, or you know, what be the story of that being around Sevix and this whole thing of busting into an armory and thrashing the place. I mean, you know, how does that play into the, you know, lore and where it takes place and all that stuff? So beauty for beauty's sake, I don't think is ever a good thing. because you can have the best presentation in the world and the worst product, and it's not going to matter. They just got you in there just on the look of it, and then they're using it and it's crap. But that kind of plays in exactly to what you're speaking about here. Is they got you in with the original buildings, you end up at the end, you're like, well, why doesn't it look good anymore? Why doesn't it look beautiful?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it doesn't look good, because I'm sure the graphic detail's there, but
oh sure, but why isn't it not dead? Why is everything or whatever it might be color wise? I don't know. Yeah, dessert. But I think a lot of that probably just plays into the story and lore and whatever they. I think somebody else had asked that question though with a way snarkier, like a logical, like that makes you think of like, oh yeah, very similar to when Ari was like the forge open. He's like, well, why didn't we just come through the ceiling? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I think somebody had asked something very similar to that with the end of this forge. Like, okay, well, if we're here, then why this? Yeah, I'm not sure. Level design though, that stuff all intrigues me. Like level design, decisions behind menus, all that stuff. Super intriguing for me. Like one of my favorites, and one of the I love to make UI suggestions for them is, you ever go to adjust the draw time on or charge time on something, and even though you're bringing it down, which is what you want, the arrow still shows up as red.
Oh yeah,
it's like,
yeah, that's not a negative. So why? Oh yeah, that's interesting. I have never thought of that.
That's color psychology 101. Like it should be green because you want to do that.
Absolutely.
Even though it's going down, it does. You know what I mean? The direction doesn't dictate the visual. So yeah,
that's interesting.
And it is all that stuff. I see stuff all the time in this game, and I'm just like, wow, you guys are super intelligent. Why this?
With the way, so with Scourge, like coming out the way that it is, like seeing the way that it has, and seeing what like this past dungeon has been, because like personally for me, I enjoyed delving into the dungeon a lot more than I did actually doing Scourge, and every opportunity I get, I end up going in there like that week.
When you say dungeon, you mean Shattered Throne?
Yes, Shattered Throne.
So Shattered Throne came with Forsaken, though.
Yes.
And Scourge came with Black Armory.
Right. So, do you guys see yourselves wanting more raid-like activities, or maybe something more dungeon-esque going forward?
I love Shattered Throne. Like it's my favorite area probably in the game. And it's easier to get 2 people together to do an encounter than it is to get 5. And it's easier to communicate across 3 people than it is to communicate across 6.
Right.
I would love more dungeon kind of things. I'm actually kind of surprised that one didn't drop. I guess you could say something along the lines did with Niobe Labs and trying to get to level 7. It's kind of like a shortcut version, you know what I mean, of a dungeon. So I guess we did. I still have yet, and I think part of the reason why I have a big time issue with Black Armory is I haven't really had a chance to do Niobe Labs yet, and I think maybe my idea of the DLC will change once I've experienced it, because it looks like it's pretty badass.
Yeah.
To actually try and get in there and get it to level 7, but
yeah,
more raid activities. They don't have to be a raid, but like more. Okay, so just to, I don't know if you guys played the Anthem demo or not. I'm not trying to go off on a tangent on Anthem. But
tried.
The one stronghold they have in there, right? Fair enough. The one stronghold they have in there, though, I saw streamers doing it, and I got a chance to dive in there a little bit today. That's their equivalent of like a strike, and it took people it took them like an hour to do it. Now, granted, that'll go down as they level up and get more powerful weapons and gear and stuff when they play the game. But the encounter itself, phenomenal, and it looks comparable to Scourge, you know. And that's a strike.
You think so?
I think, yeah, absolutely. Scourge, I mean, I don't want to go in some negative rant about Scourge, but like it irritates me that the first encounter is pretty much the same as the boss encounter.
Sure.
Like, it just feels rushed.
That's why
I'm generic.
Yeah, I feel the last encounter is definitely not, up to snuff, especially given the first encounter. Yeah.
Well, part of that also goes into, I think, what they've addressed in the TWAB this week, which was grinding out powerful engrams prior. So for those of you who don't know, in the TWAB this week, they talked about anything that yields powerful engrams prior to Season of the Drifter will not carry over to the new light level. It will not carry over to 700. It will carry over just 650. It caps out at 650 for that season. That's what you're getting from your prime and powerful engrams. And once Season of the Drifter starts, that's when you can start grinding your light for 700. And
they also said to make sure you don't carry anything over because you might block yourself that week from completing that specific bounty. So if you carry over a spider bounty or a queen's bounty, there's a chance that you may actually not be able to grab that week's bounty because you blocked yourself from doing it since it's already done.
Which makes me wonder how this went into the game, considering there's no number attached to the bounty when it's completed. Like a prime engram, you know, that thing is what it is, and you can watch it, you know, you can check it, but that bounty doesn't have a number attached to it when you complete it. So that makes sense if upon completion they stamp a number on it and then it carries over when a new season comes along, that yeah, you're screwed that week. Even if you complete it, picking up a new one, because it's stamped your powerful, you know, bounties as this number.
The forge weapons are the same way. If you try to carry them over week to week, then you just miss out on one.
Right.
So, I guess logically that makes sense. Design wise, it makes sense for them to gate their activities that way, especially if they're going to drop a raid like that opening week. Like, because I'm sure they anticipated it to be more challenging and
than an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
2 hours, whatever.
Right. So if you didn't know, the people hoarded iron banner bounties and whatever other bounties people could carry over. I think the majority that the people carried was all of the iron banner ones. And they got to 620, 630, 640, and 650 before the raid even came out. So when they went into the raid, they were already at basically max level before they had acquired any new gear associated with Black Armory or Scourge of the Past, for that matter.
Or historically, sorry, historically, you go in, you get your first. We got
proceed.
Delays,
someone
right?
proceed.
That first encounter usually gives you your bump to get.
Right. So that caused a pretty big uproar, especially among the community that wants a shot at World's First in Camp, because people are hoarding engrams, or people are dumping 100 million hours in the first week, or the first 5 days that something comes out, grinding all their milestones, bumping all their other characters up. It's taken away an experience from a lot of the community, and people are even crying for weekend launch versus weekday launch at noon or whatever time something like that would particularly go live. And it's I don't understand how having more horses in the race is a bad thing, but I kind of understand where Bungie's like, this is our hallmark of the DLC. We want this out in people's hands as soon as possible to create as much of a buzz as possible, but it worked the opposite direct way this time. And the majority of people who hoarded, the one person who got the 650 was not on a team that got World's First.
Right.
Or top 10 for that matter.
Yeah. It's skill dependent for sure, but light level definitely helps in that instance.
Especially in that last encounter on screen. Whew. Those Vandal snipers.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They'll get you.
Yeah. So I don't know. In fairness, in a fairness perspective, I see this as nothing but a good thing, especially if it puts more ponies in the race, because I enjoy seeing streamers win. As a streamer, as a content creator, I enjoy seeing somebody that I know and love rush to the top of the mountain, plant their flag, and then they're like, I did it, guys, and they get a belt and maybe a cool jacket, maybe some shades. Bungie, start working on shades. But like, I think that what was it Crota or Wrath where the German team won, where it was just like a bunch of German dads that nobody even saw?
Right, the bus drivers.
Yeah, the bus drivers. Like, that's a cool story too. It just doesn't get as much attention because
it was the LFG group that was like World's First for whatever. Is that the one you're talking about? I forget which raid it was.
I think so. I want to say that it was for.
It was one of the red layers,
wanna-
wasn't it?
It was Wrath. It was the Wrath against Machine. I don't know if
Yeah.
it was
Didn't one get one on the layers
Wrath of
too?
the Machine.
I think so.
I'm
could
pretty
be
sure
wrong.
one did.
It might have been Eater of Worlds. That was an LFG group's first.
I think it. I mean, it's a good change, like you said, Dan, for fairness' sake. I think the only people that I could see complaining about this are the people who forget to turn them in and then go, "I had bonies to turn." You know, so I think the where I hope I see improvement from Bungie in this, and it's not that they have to. It's not game ruining or anything, but like a small prompt. If you log in within, say, 48 hours of reset, you get a prompt that says, "Hey, you have completed. To go make sure you turn this in, or it's gonna, a reminder messages for users to, say, hey."
In game, not
in-game,
on
in-game.
Bungie forums that people don't read, or
right,
YouTube
and
videos
that's
people don't watch,
right.
or
But don't start doing everything. You'll put me out of a job. So.
That's what I was gonna say. You're suggesting that they put you out of business.
I know, it's weird. It's a juxtaposition, man. I want to suggest things, but I'm like, ooh, wow.
But then I get to post that this week.
But then, exactly. Which is what they've started doing with their weekly Twitter. I'm like,
So it goes. Speaking of, did you guys see the changes? The video of the changes they're making to Golden Gun?
Oh yeah.
I did not see a video for it. No.
Oh, it shows the Golden Gun going to work in Volender Forge. It just like shot, like every single time. It just gets it back and gets a little bit more. That's delicious kill. That's a delicious fiery kill over there. That guy's barbecue. He's wonderful. It's so good.
Ad control important. Boss fights, DPS probably not.
Yeah,
it depends on the structure of the team and what if you're challenged by it. Like if I was going into Volunder the first time at like 605, I'd want that, and I would want Blade Barrage, and I would want like a Well of Radiance or a Melting Point or something to tag, because it really came down to DPS on a very spongy boss at launch. Now that we're all in the 620s to 650s, none of the forges, for that matter, really pose a threat for the majority of players. Even like a team of non-communicative players are easily able to handle end game activities. So
it just
looked
looked
what
cool.
that would do. And I
looks really
can't
cool.
imagine.
It looks like
Is
a
that
lot
going
of
to change how you play? Are you going to play
Probably
Golden
not,
Gun?
no, because I'm still going to use Spectral Blade with Quiz and Vest.
I think this is what, and it comes down to PvE or PvP. People are going to freak out and think that you could do that in PvP. When it's like, really? You see that many Guardians on a screen at one time?
Yeah, there was a very specific reason they chose a small populated area to show off that super.
Right, exactly. If you're on, I'm trying to think of an instance, and I can't think of one off top, but if there's anything that provides elites
Blind
anywhere, Blind Well would be a good one. That very last encounter, start popping those off for Harmony, and then to hit the big guy, and then hit another Harmony to extend, and then hit a big guy, and you could extend that thing for a very long time. But yeah, I think it'll come down to finding certain instances for it. But it should be dope. I like it.
Yeah,
better than 6 shots. And then
absolutely.
I think it makes all of those are.
So
I don't know,
if you put on the Celestial Nighthawk, are you going to get 2 shots with it?
Probably not.
No,
I don't think that'd be broken if it does.
I want that.
Yeah,
I want that.
Would you?
No, because you don't even get the buff if you leave it on the 6 shots. It's only for the one tree, right? For the one shot.
Celestial Nighthawk works best at bottom tree, which is the 6 shot one. I thought it was, but I don't.
I'm pretty sure it's the one shot because it puts it all into the one insane. Yeah.
Right, but if it was a precision kill, wouldn't it give you another one?
It depends on what constitutes a precision kill. I guess with Celestial.
Right. Kill it, I guess you don't have a really good like it used to even have a second shot. So on Celestial anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if there was some out there that if you if you hit a golden gun shot, it was a precision shot with Celestial Nighthawk, that it granted you a second shot in the PvE world. I'd be
Yeah.
Yeah, if they split Celestial to benefit both trees in different ways.
I mean, your
Mhm.
your
Do you
metric
have an
is,
exotic like
is- your metric right now is Blade Barrage. No matter what you do,
Mhm.
Orpheus?
the metric you're up against is what Blade Barrage is capable of doing. So if I'm trying to find a way to pull people out of using Blade Barrage and bring them into using other supers that we offer, and Barrage is that powerful, are you not supposed to find a way to be as powerful? Or do
Yeah.
you want to, because Blade Barrage, we use it as like a central DPS
Yeah.
kind of super, but it's actually really good for ad control too. And the 6-shot golden gun's about the same thing. It's
Mhm.
really good for ad control. So why not give, I don't know, why not give it a bump? A bump?
Yeah, Nimplay says if you switch to Nighthawk when you pop the top tree super, it gives you energy back on kill. Fairly certain it's a bug. That's what Nim says in chat.
Oh, but you have to, but to do that, you have to,
That's the Bakken well,
Yeah.
Bakken pointed it out.
you have to
What
pop the
nuts.
super, switch to Nighthawk, get the shot off, get the kill, then you get some super back. It doesn't give you
Yeah,
a second shot right then and there. And I think
you
that's
Yeah.
what
gotta
I'm
be
kind of
quick with your menus,
right.
Good luck on
Not
console,
a problem
guys.
on PC.
And that's fixed in next week's rollout.
Yeah.
So
So, man, let's talk a little bit more about what we saw in the TWAB. Coming on January 29th, not only will you be able to go after the last word, but I hear say in Crucible, Mayhem returns from the 29th to
Yes.
February 5th. So that will that's an interesting choice. The week that you're going to be able to get last word is the week when you want to use your super in Crucible.
Well, it might be out there from data mines, but I have no clue what's involved in getting the last word yet. I don't know if it's even
all we know is
involved.
it's not time gated. Well, somebody probably didn't mind the whole thing. But
I don't know if it's Crucible involved, if it's hand cannon kills, sidearm kills, or if there's maybe a quest that's actually a quest involved with missions and story and lore.
Mhm.
I don't know. But
there's got to be some Crucible.
if it's
involved.
just
I hope
like
so.
wins in
Has to be.
Crucible or kills in Crucible, then having it be a Mayhem week is probably the best thing for the entire community, because
Yeah.
all you Gwiz
They can go
Invest people
somewhere.
are just going to be Gwiz investing with your Gwiz Invests everywhere. I'm going to hit you
Gross.
7 times with a hammer. It's going to do 1 damage, and I'm going to be really mad
Well,
about
Gross.
not really, because this week comes the sandbox change where where the Spectral Blade actually has less health as well. I believe that's the nerf to it. So, I mean,
You
you'll
can
be
have
able
less health and still take
5-0.
as much damage as it does.
Yeah.
It still drive me crazy.
It's still gonna be everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nova Warp slows down and costs
Nova-
more energy.
They're not making changes to Spectral.
I thought that
I
they
thought
were.
they said that it was an armor or a damage change.
Yeah. I thought that
Is
was
there?
the change from a couple weeks back.
Nope, you're right. Yep. Damage resistance and stealth decreased, and duration of super while invisible slightly decreased.
Yeah. So it's gonna suck for me when I'm in Gambit. I'm not gonna be able to team wipe anybody.
Wow.
Oh.
I don't damage resistance and stealth decreased. I don't know about that one.
we'll see.
I've
we'll
still
see what
got popped.
happens.
Like,
I don't know. I had somebody unload 3 shots of golden gun on me, and that's what took me down. Like,
oh,
that took me down.
I've used a linear fusion rifle and domed a spectral blade, and it laughed at me and then came
Yeah.
right on over. I mean, literally a headshot with it, which is not easy to do. For
No.
the record, it is a hard super to hit in the head with a linear
oh,
fusion
yeah,
rifle.
it is.
Didn't kill it. I've hit it with, I think, 2 hammers and survived.
Yeah.
I've used tickle fingers on it, and it's been fine. I borderline anything outside of Blade Barrage just hasn't shut it down. Even like 2 shots with the shoddy, it's been
Yeah. It's a
making
tough
it through,
super.
so
It's a tough super, and I think it's a good change. As somebody who uses it, I think it's a good change that they're making to the health supply of it. But will still probably be my go-to in Gambit. I think that it's an incredible Gambit super, whether for clearing ads with Gwiz Invest or taking out enemies.
So you just invade and go
There's-
invisible.
Yeah, immediately. I jump through, pop super, go invisible, and then I hunt down the first person with 15 motes. And then
they can't see you with the trail of stuff that you're still invisible.
Not really. No, it's tough. And like when I'm right on them, bop.
Yeah.
I've never had the experience.
Now when you're invisible.
Yeah, I've never had the experience where they've been able to see me while I'm invis.
I've never been invaded by a spectral. A lot of people are really apprehensive of even invading in Super anymore. When I played a decent amount of Gambit this week, the majority of people are invading with a light machine gun.
Yeah,
and staying in one spot. So many people invaded and stayed put.
Yeah, would
not push at all, which was interesting to me. Because if I have 15 motes, I'm standing still. You're not going to come get me.
Exactly. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like I have the hammerhead ready, but the spectral blade is my go-to. If I'm invading.
How many people do we think are? I think Gambit is might be seeing a little bit of a drought right now too. People just being a little fed up with the matchmaking from blueberries and stuff too. So you might not be seeing the highest caliber of player.
Yeah, it's tough to.
Well, I mean that makes sense.
They're just here's another thing. I talked about this on stream a little bit. There's a triumph for Gambit that involves weapons.
Yeah.
One of the weapons is a sword. Oh. You have to get 100 sword kills in Gambit. And in so doing, you are basically asking or telling people to be an ineffective teammate.
Yeah.
Because swords don't kill
me all
enemies
the heavy,
quickly.
Please.
There's no ammunition whatsoever on the field. So you're forced to sword hilt, which takes like 3 or 4 hits to kill anybody. Yep. So you're telling people that we want you to go out there and be the most ineffective teammate that you could possibly be at the sake of getting I don't even know if there's a triumph score associated with it, but it seems a little counterintuitive to me to already in a game that is in a game mode that is difficult for a solo player to grasp, be communicative, and be effective in. Because everybody's a 15 gamer. Yeah. If you want to be good at Gambit, bank at 5 every single time. Bank at 5, bank at 5, bank at 5, bank at 5. People are going to take out the blockers anyway.
Have you seen my infographic on Gambit?
So it's just there's a lot of other triumphs that are out there that are like that. You know, wipe an entire team X amount of time. So for someone who's going after, and I need it for dredging. So if you're not really good at invading, you have to basically throw yourselves at the wolves over and over and over again. If you're not getting those invasion kills, your team's not going to win.
Yeah.
So I find it a little bit counterproductive for Bungie to put trophies on ways that encourage you to play poorly.
See, I've been going for dredging this week. That's what I ended up doing. There wasn't really much of an incentive to do much for me this week. I was looking forward to the Anthem demo on Friday.
Do you have a title yet?
I have Wayfarer. And dredging. I think the only two things that I need this week. I needed one game where I collected 38 motes, or in a round, and I did that with some buds, and then I went and I just need one more reset for the dredging title just to get the ghost. So I have the dredging title. So that, I think for the foreseeable future, that's what I'm going to be working on. But I don't know. It's an interesting thing because you have this game mode, which if you haven't listened to Crucible Radio this week, you should listen to Crucible Radio this week. They talked with Lars Bakken and
oh, I gotta listen to that.
Oh, I forget who else. That's gonna bug me.
Was Moon on this week or no?
Huh? Was
Moon on this week?
No.
Is it next week? Oh.
Yeah, it might be next week. But it was Robbie, one of Moon and Nim's friends from the Bungie, Robbie Stevens. They went on and they talked about the concept of Gambit. They talked about what they're looking forward to with the season of the Drifter and all sorts of things. So you have this game mode where people may be falling off because they've already gotten their dredgens or whatever, because they they overworked themselves on the game mode. You have it where you're going to have an entire season of it coming up soon, and right now, with Black Armory, I love Black Armory. I think it's good. It's a good game, and it adds content periodically when I need an excuse to get back into Destiny. But it's kind of I feel like it's kind of like in this like content drought ish area
Yep.
where it's not for lack of things to do, it's
No.
just lack of meaningful things to do. If that doesn't sound shitty.
Spot on. Spot on.
So I don't know.
I mean, does that speak to ourselves, you know, to us as players, the types of players that we are?
Possibly.
I think like being on that burnout, I think a little bit. I've thought about this myself too, because it's that you sit down, you know you want to play Destiny, but you load Destiny up and you're like,
That's where Crucible comes in for me. And you just kind of wonder if there's players out there, and I'm sure there's a percentage, but I don't know what it is, where that's Gambit for them, where that's strikes for them.
I
I'm
hope
gonna
so.
play the game.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy it. I'm just going to run some strikes and brainless strikes. I'm going to play, you know, for me, it's Crucible. When there's nothing to do, I play Crucible.
Right.
And it wasn't even that Trials kept me occupied when there were content droughts in Destiny. I still played sixes in Destiny 1. So if I just want to play, I'm playing Crucible. I will not step into Gambit without a team, and I will not step into Gambit without my team. And my team is stacked of savage players who just, I mean, we just stomp. We just absolutely stomp people when we play. It's because I'd rather stomp on people than be frustrated with whatever the other situation is, the other side of grabbing 15 motes and jumping off the ledge, not banking for your 75th, going for 20 when you only need 2. Like, this is what, and I don't even know why. I don't know what the psyche of the player base is, where it's like, yo, you can get a primeval. I just need like 7 more. Like, I got 8. I just need 7 more. Hang on.
I think
like,
I think it might be the person who's going for that 38 in a round, because holy cow.
or it's the ones that they don't know that when it's bank time for primeval, even if one mode is needed to get the primeval, they want to send 5 because they think it's going to send a small blocker when it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like, but nobody tells you that. Nothing in game tells you that. So why wouldn't you would think it's going to send whatever I put in there, right? Not just because we need 1. I put 5 in there, so it's going to send a small blocker.
This might not work every time, but if I'm out there and I'm trying to get 38, I'm in game chat saying, "Hey guys, let me pick up the first 2 rounds worth of all of them and deposit. I'm trying to get 38." So we did that with a simple conversation this week. I was like, "Yeah, I don't have the 100 or whatever in a game or whatever it was. All right, you're picking up every single mote that we drop. Just run and grab them. We'll kill everything else." All right, cool, got it, no problem. It was done in the first round.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
state your intent.
Well, and that's the tough thing is when you're running.
Hey guys, I need sword kills. We're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Right.
We're gonna throw, guys.
Cool, back out.
Well, you're not wrong about how many instances. It brings up a good conversation of how many instances have we been put in to be enemies of ourselves or enemies of the people we're playing with because of a quest step or a triumph or you name it. I think a lot of that's become very apparent with what the Black Armory had for its forge steps. Headshots of a certain thing, needing the kill shot on a certain thing. It's like, cool, so we're all gonna be scumbags, right? It's free for all. Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna kill that captain before his feet even hit the
ground. Bye guys.
Ship and he's
good luck in yours.
The ship he's on, like.
But so it's interesting how many times we've been put into that position, and it will be interesting looking forward if that's been feedback. I know I've given it on it to see how often those steps continue. Because I think I've seen them at the highest they've ever. That's not that they're game breaking or anything. It's not bad. It's just like if it can be prevented, don't try not to put players against each other for completing.
It's always been that way though. Yeah, when you
you're not wrong.
Get fallen high value targets, whatever in Destiny 1. Everybody would go to Venus, that one section there. It's a scavenge for yellow bars. It's one around the water and then up the hill and hope that guy spawns for.
But similar to public events, if you put one shot on something and then just stand back and hide in the corner, you still get the reward at the end. I think as long as you're putting shots and enough shots, I don't know what they deem, partaking in as or whatever that number is, but as long as everybody's putting shots on it, like you're all out for the same objective. Why does it have to be the kill shot that nets the check mark on on the quest.
For the captain, it was the kill only.
That
Then
was
they
the bug,
got to the Vex enemy, and that was just shots. Kill 20 Vex Minotaurs. So everyone's sitting at the Exodus Black or whatever the other area was.
Yeah.
And just shooting down the lane. As long as nobody stepped in that spawn, you were able to get it done. And that was a little bit better because there could be 10, 11 people all sitting on a ledge next to a rock. Everyone just fires one bullet on it and gets credit for the kill. But when it comes to a game mode like Gambit, I want to encourage weapon variety because I think it's important. But I want to also encourage not putting our teammates in a position to fail. So why can't it be kills with a close range weapon? Why can't it be assists instead of individual kills?
Yeah.
Why, why? I understand like invading and wiping an entire team. I can, to a certain degree, that again we're forcing players that might be out of their skill set into environments that might not be. I'm a hell of a PvP player. I'm not the best invader because I don't know where I'm standing when I go through the portal. I'll go in the portal, I'll be looking at the wall, be like, what do I do now?
Dude, just Spectral Blade.
And before I even know it, I'm Queen Breaker's bowed, right? So it's like, I'd like to see Bungie take it more. Maybe Gambit would be more fun if there weren't really, 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 really troublesome triumphs to chase after.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think some of that, though, maybe encourages trying to get good at something, even though the numbers are low for the requirement to check out
Sword
the quest
kills
stuff?
is not going to make me any better.
No, not sword kill.
Not that one.
The instance of the like kill a full team.
Yeah, people should be encouraged to get out of their comfort zone and to learn that kind of thing 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing about invading now is that people are starting to learn the spawn spots.
Yeah.
And camp the spawn spots.
They're just getting good at it. They just got good at the game. They've been doing it well enough, long enough that they know.
The Destiny community will learn. Like we've proven it time and time again. We'll adjust, we'll learn, we'll adapt. So it almost makes you wonder if some of the changes that might be coming down the line with Joker's Wild is some changes to those spawn spots where you come from. Almost like I almost envision like a Fortnite where we come down an umbrella when we invade. We just kind of float down. That would be awful. It's probably not going to happen, but I'd like to see a change like that.
No, I hope we do get some changes to Gambit as well. Something. I think Dado's video was a great video on a lot of the points of where Gambit has become a bit stale, kind of in a way. Catch-up mechanics aren't what they intended them to be. Now that you can melt a boss in 2 seconds, practically less than a second. That final encounter with the primeval just doesn't become fun anymore. That race to see who's gonna get down there.
Some games like that where it comes down to the wire. We actually,
but
if
they're
there
few and far between,
we would have had one. Like we literally both wiped our boss at the same time. I think ping is what made them come away with the win. But those games are few and far between.
Siva comes up with Siva Tech in chat has a very interesting thought about what would be interesting in Gambit is if it had modifiers day to day or week to week.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, solar does more damage this week, or like it's heavy modifier, so you can melt with.
Is that only applicable to Guardians? Because I've had enough of modifiers and strikes, so I don't want no solar modification. And then I've got four whatever they are, the wizards that are already melting me more than the ones in Vorgith do. I don't know how I feel about catch-up mechanics. I don't know how I feel about. I mean, a boss melt is an achievement of coordination and power. And when you put things like immune and shields in stages, I almost wonder if that would be worse.
Yeah, you're like kind of like the meatball you're talking about,
right? When the immune things come up and you got to plan for it and you got to wait, and it gives the enemy more time to get like a.
I don't know what the answer is. It'll be interesting.
It seems like they'll be addressing a lot of this with Season of the Drifter. Story wise and conceptually with the game mode. I highly recommend everybody go listen to that episode of the Crucible Radio. They're friends of the show, and it was really enlightening hearing like the origins of it, where it was just like, okay, well, you're going to be able to see the other team with like a glass wall, in between.
Okay, I gotta listen to this.
Dude, you
now.
have to listen to the episode.
Talk
It's
about the
such-
origins of it. Yes,
It's
Oh,
so
yes.
good. It's so good.
I almost wonder if Trials should have the same thing instead of the introduction where it shows people dancing and their weapons and whatnot.
If you should have a room where you're just facing off with them
where you're standing
emoting.
face-
Stare at each
yeah.
other.
Absolutely. I
better.
think that would make a lot more sense than that 30 seconds of Will.
I
This
forget
is
how much time
Dan, and he
combined
likes
one
the
second
death
kill-
emote.
Yeah.
The showcase.
Somebody put the math together for 1 second kill and how many Trials games he played and how much.
Oh,
how
I
many-
saw that.
It was like,
I know what you're talking about.
dude, it was like, I swear to God, it was like 3 or 4 weeks worth of minutes of intros that he had actually watched. It was a wildly inappropriate number.
Wasted on Trials intro.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's something gross.
Funny.
I don't know. What else was in the 12 this week? We had
Well, a thing on to quickly accent
Mhm.
the Gambit talk. I think it was Cosmo who said on Reddit that don't think that it's just going to be all about playing Gambit next season. The
Mhm.
Drifter will be asking us to do much more than play Gambit. So
That was my biggest concern.
that's a good thing.
Mhm.
Right.
I was really nervous about a package that would ship that would be like centered all around
Mhm.
Gambit. I just couldn't see that being something that the community would dive into and really enjoy because
Right.
There's no longevity in that 90 days worth. No way.
I just wish numbers were public and we could see how many players were associated with how many activities. Like we see Crucible
Yeah.
and we see
You see PvE and PvP.
right, but there's nothing that tells you how many pings there were or hits there were on Gambit, or
Yeah.
how much repeated time. Like how many Guardians play more than one Gambit game?
Mhm.
How many play the one for their powerful reward and then they're done?
I don't even do that anymore.
If I'm not with a team, I won't play.
Yeah.
Will not
Yeah.
play. It.
Yeah, I won't load into a single. No way.
I
I
did
would if
that
there
on
were solo
Friday.
queues.
I had that on Friday, and man, I wanted a team real bad toward the end of it. It was not great. It's not great.
Do we need to talk about it?
No, we don't need to talk about it. Honestly, I'm
I just
fine.
want to make
I'm
sure
over
you're
it.
okay.
I'm okay.
I can.
I'm over it.
It's just like when you play Crucible and you're the only player having a good game on your team.
Mm-hmm.
You can still have fun and find ways to learn from being team shot and how many
Yeah.
different angles to pursue and
Yeah.
decisions to make. There, like if you're the one player having a good game in Gambit, there's nothing you can do to even stand a chance and in a Gambit match. And I think that's part of the thing
Yeah.
at hand there. Like
You need a
Yeah,
team
it's-
of Airbuds, not just Airbud. Is that what you're saying?
well, I'm so unfamiliar with Airbud.
7th inning fetch.
I think. Wait, hold on. Was there a hockey one?
Is there a hockey bud?
No
Oh, yeah,
way.
Absolutely there is.
Oh
Absolutely.
wow.
There is. Oh God.
Yeah, I know there's a baseball one. It's 7th inning fetch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Moxie, your knowledge just
Yeah, dude. All
I'm in
stupid
awe.
shit. I know it.
Encyclopedia.
Dude, he's
Shit
got
I know
kids. He
about.
knows what's up.
No, it's that's way before their time.
I love it.
I really have no business knowing that. Hang on a second.
They also talked this week in a section called the final preview. We talked a lot about changes coming next Tuesday in 2.1.4, but we have a few more you may want to know about yet. Here's the final preview before official patch notes ship with the update on 129.19. Valor rank resets. Valor rank resets step will now look at previous season's accomplishments as well. 5 Valor resets are still required during a single season, but this is no longer restricted to the current season. If a player has 5 Valor resets in Season 4, this will now grant access toward the quest. And completion inconsistencies fixed various issues where the quest was not progressing to the pickup step until player re-entered orbit.
which is what happened to me. I did the entire thing and I was like, where's my broadsword?
Nothing.
Nothing. Everyone in chat was like, go to orbit, it'll
Freaking
drop
out.
there. I was like, if
Where
I
is
leave this
it?
place, I don't get it. I'm banning everybody. But I got it.
You're all
I
gone.
haven't fired a single shot of it. I
Oh,
haven't
my
fired a
goodness.
single bullet from my. Actually, no, I used it in PvE. I
You
used the
did?
broadsword in PvE. Yeah,
How was it? How was
I don't know.
that moment
not enough for me to
to report on it this
continue to
time?
use. There's actually a triumph for using the broadsword in PvP. I didn't even realize, but you need like 50 wins, like 200 kills. You have to kill players on a streak
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah,
So
there's
that-
yeah.
That's interesting.
It's a good change all around for
Yeah.
anybody who's unintentionally making progress towards that quest. I think, if they've been blasting things out, but
Yeah.
or I'm sorry, if they've been, say this season, if you played, the weeks where it was double or triple and you
Mhm.
just hit reset after reset after reset, but you've never been making progress towards that quest step, and then all of a sudden you want to. I think that's pretty rad. That
Yeah.
if you decided that next season, it'll look back at this season and go, oh, you reset 5 times, you're good. You don't have to do it
What
this season.
is Luna's Howl the same way then? Will 2100 rank in any season count towards Luna's?
That's interesting. That makes me wonder if
I think it has to be within the same season.
It does right now, but like if you're gonna do that for Broadsword,
next
why wouldn't
season-
you do that for Luna's?
like because what
I
is
think
that?
that's a number that's more linear. That's achievable versus resets.
Right.
You gotta
Yeah, that's true.
reset 5 times.
Yeah.
That's
But
an insane amount, unless you're capitalizing on the 2 times and 3 times.
Redrix's is the pinnacle weapon of 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Right?
The season after the Claymore, because the Claymore was the first
Yeah,
trials pinnacle weapon that took fly. So season
It was
two,
the
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Forsake?
It was right at Forsaken. Forsaken was
Yeah, because it's
the
Redrix,
broadsword.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I don't know. That would be interesting if they made a change to the Lunas.
Well, I think Nick's
Next.
right. And nobody, please don't be that upset. 2100 glory is not outside of a lot of people's skill set. I think a lot of
Mhm.
people are more intimidated to try it.
Mm-hmm.
For the solo player, it's going to be a challenge regardless because you're a solo player. But 2100, it really isn't crazy difficult. I didn't feel like I was out of my own, swimming depth when I was playing against players within that region. And
Yeah,
now
with
it's
the
dominated by
changes-
Not Forgottens, but
Oh
Yeah.
god. And with the changes to matchmaking, it's been somewhat better, I think, for solo players. I LFG'd mine from 1500 to 2100 last season for Lunas, so
Yeah.
and I hadn't used LFG on the companion app prior to that, so I had fairly good.
Oh, you used it on the
Results.
companion app?
Yeah, yep. So I just hit up the LFG because a lot of people in that last week, would all race to Lunas quick before new season. Wait till the last minute. Do your homework, kids. So yeah. It's good. All of it's. It'll be interesting to see though if they eventually end up changing that. But
Yeah.
that would be in the same vein as I think making that was it Malfeasance or Ace? No, Ace, the quest up.
Oh yeah.
what was that? The 5 invader kills or
Yep.
whatever.
Mhm.
I got it the first week or whatever, because there was still a ton of people playing and pushing for it.
Yeah.
So Gambit had a wider player pool and a bigger player base. So so many people commented about how that step was such a challenge. The first week,
Mhm.
I don't know if it was the team or the way things landed, but
I think a lot of people forget that these are exotic
Yeah.
quest steps.
Yeah. Exotic and pinnacle.
It's exotic, guys. Got to do hard stuff.
Well, and the thing
Nice
is
to
like
hand to.
with some of the pinnacle things, like such as the loaded question and the breakneck, relied on you doing the activity just over and over again.
Yeah.
So you don't want
Toward
to
the
play it
end.
anymore.
Yeah.
Hit
20
a
strikes, I
number.
think, for the loaded question.
It was
40, It's 40.
40.
it was 40.
And some people did that in like a day. Like, no thanks, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did about 20 in a row one day.
Were you
loading-
speed running the Nightfall to get it done faster?
I was just speed running the Lake of Shadows strike.
Yep.
I got it to the point where I was doing that within like less than 12 minutes. So we were just like, I think everybody was doing that same strike too, because everybody was dancing at the end after you like knocked it out, and had quite a few hop-ons as well. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's interesting seeing what they're doing with pinnacle weapons, but we've
I
had
wonder
that
if there's more
conversation before.
coming with Joker Wild.
I hope
Because
so.
they came with.
I
Did
hope
they
so,
come with
yeah.
Forsaken, or did they come with? Yeah, they came with Forsaken, right?
Didn't those drop like the week before the season started?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think did they all a week before? Or
I got them both
Yeah.
the same week. So
They all dropped a week before Black Armory dropped.
yeah.
Okay.
And so that was what everybody did that week prior.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
I was
like
all proud of the fact that I got them both, but then I didn't want to do those activities ever.
yeah. That was when that was when
You know
the
what? Now
bread
that you
meme was
mention
at
that, yeah.
peak. The bread
That's
meme
pretty
was at
much when I-
peak.
When I stopped playing Gambit after breaking
Bread.
neck.
Yeah,
So you're
it
saying
was-
It got to the point where I couldn't play Gambit without using an AR. I was so used to using the Cerberus or whatever it is,
Mhm.
that I couldn't use another weapon when I played Gambit. I was just, where's my shotgun that they're gonna call an auto rifle at? Let me get that out real quick. If y'all didn't know, if you use that gun like it's a shotgun, it'll melt
Plus
everything.
one.
It's a close range.
Run up in its face. Oh yeah, yep.
Oh man.
G-Verse is good.
They also talked about enhancement cores. They fixed an issue that prevented enhancement cores from being awarded when reaching legend in valor and glory ranks, which is interesting. You, Niris, you wanted to talk about enhancement cores.
Oh yeah.
earlier.
Well, they had an interesting, I think, comment on enhancement cores this week. I was reading the weekly from Shackle, and it was on the forums, I guess, but
Mhm.
Cosmo had written that I have continued to present the dev team that a large portion of the community has given feedback that they would like to have enhancement core costs removed from Infusion. I'll continue to present your feedback within the studio. So far, there are no plans to remove the costs. Please continue to give your feedback, and I'll let you know if anything changes.
Ooh.
And then the last one, which was the what is it that we're not removing?
Yeah. That we're
the,
not
the on
removing
accusations
anything.
about posts, because people keep like it's
Yeah.
if it's enough that if the community, this is where it's weird for me personally. I just kind of have this weird comment. If you guys have to comment on saying we're not going to make anything, and then have to comment on accusations of posts because there's so many posts about a thing,
Yeah.
what, like,
Yeah. Why
I
not
don't-
budge a little?
or if you're not going to budge, at least be a little more transparent on what you are adding them to. Because if we're gonna be getting them more, that's fine too, but we need to know that. For right now, it just looks like live with it, guys,
Yeah.
and that's it. And it's just, I don't know, comes across cold in a way to me.
Is that an issue though? Enhancement cores? Like I'm not sure. Do I get those?
I want to
matter
tell
with
you guys a story about how much of a derp I am. So I the carrot that I'm chasing right now is collections. My Warlock is brand new. My Titan didn't really do a whole lot in the open world as I was playing, so I'm missing a lot of the armor sets for the planets. So I decided that it would be a good idea for me to log on to the characters and go to the vendors and spend all my materials there to get the
Yeah.
armor sets, not realizing that I needed those materials in order to infuse anything ever, forever, and always. So my issue actually is not the fact that I need enhancement cores. It's that I spent every ounce of mats that I had for every single planet. And I don't know if you know this or not, like as you like dope around doing dopey things, you acquire quite a few. But when you actually need to do it, it's like getting your teeth pulled and then having them reinstalled just so they can pull them again. It's pretty vicious when you actually have to go out there and farm and do mats, because like even public events and chests give you like 4, 2, 5. And if you go give your money to Spider, who's going to take all of our money that we've given him and raise an army to kill all of us, I'm actually running out of Glimmer. And it's like, man, I am spending time, instead of playing the video game, I'm spending time acquiring these things for Infusion. I
Trying to
kind of
manage
just
an
wonder if
economy.
it should be a little bit more linear for
Yeah.
Infusion. I don't know. Like they've always had planetary mats as a part of it. Or at least as far as I can. Actually, back in the day, wasn't it like
spin metal.
sapphire wire and plasto plating? And I forget
Mhm.
the Warlock one. There's always one you forget. But
Mm.
man,
Yeah. Carolina Gamer brings up a good point though. You can just go to Spider, stock up on the Mercury planetary mats
Yeah.
for legendary shards, and
You know
then
what?
just spam him for enhancement cores.
Why don't you see Brother Banso? Nobody wants to see
It's
him.
a good, yeah. I don't even want to deal with him.
It's the only
What-
reason to go to Mercury.
what do you use the damn Bayerian bluff for?
Barian bows.
I have
Well, you rockabye
like,
baby and you wait for him to
2.7
break.
million. Of
Oh
them.
my god, those.
And even the ones from Spider himself on the Tangled Shore, whatever those little red flowers are that you pick up, like they're just, I don't know if it's the armor and the weapons I have that don't call for it, but
Etheric
there is
spiral
nothing.
or whatever.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, that etheric spiral, I'll use that to infuse into the Tangled Shore armor, but nobody likes that. Look, it's made out of trash. So nobody wears that, so that's why I don't
It's
use
made
them.
out
ever,
of trash.
Yeah, so nobody uses that ever, so that's why I don't use them. It's like, nobody wears that armor. Garbage.
Yeah.
It drops everywhere too. Like I'll be like going to the bathroom and all of a sudden like tangled web like greaves like is coming out of my soap dispenser when I wash my hands. It's like what I did. It's everywhere in places that has nothing to do with it. Like I forget where I was like. I don't even know what I was doing. It might have been like the end of a strike or something, and I was getting like, what are you doing here? Like we broke up like 6 weeks ago. Why are you still here?
I know it's a heart-on topic, but it just goes like the armor, no comparison to where it was. Like the ornaments and stuff where they were at the end of D1, the ornament stuff, the raid armor, all that kind of stuff. It seems like they put more effort into the concepts and stuff. Like the Tangled Shore armor just sums that up. It's just.
I think it's supposed to be golf. I mean, if you look at the Tangled Shore, I think it's supposed to be a hot mess. I think it's just it's designed. It's probably harder to design a hot mess piece of armor than it is something that's super duper clean. Honestly,
yeah. Fair enough. Well, the canteen sit where the hose goes, so the hose overlaps. There's
Hey, man, that canteen is full of piss.
Right.
That answers the question. Oh my goodness. I don't know. Are you guys ready for some questions?
I did have something I wanted to bring up real quick. Just get your
Okay.
thoughts on something. So when I was on my stream today on Planet Destiny, someone brought up something pretty cool, and I was like, you know what? I never even thought about that. So he's talking about everybody's speculating that this week's going to be something big with the Queen because it's the 7th time we're going to visit her. Bungie's big on number 7, and if you did, this isn't really a spoiler. If you do the blind well this week, Petra talks, not the ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody's speculating that something big is going to happen when you go visit the Queen on Tuesday. So we were talking about that when I was playing and stuff, and somebody brought up in chat, they're like, well, he's like, here's my theory. So I think we're going to have to go on this quest to find Uldred. And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense because you're going to have to, they're not going to make up new areas and stuff. He's like, no, they don't even have to show Uldred himself. Like, you just go to, like, if you use an existing play space and you go to, like, places and you find, like, lores, like, little bones or something like that, or something that represents that. And I was like, I don't know. That's kind of far-fetched. He's like, well, if you noticed, the Dreaming City doesn't have adventures, and every other place has adventures. But
Right.
Dreaming City doesn't. He's like, maybe they're saving it for that. And I was like, that's actually a pretty cool point, because they don't have any adventures in the Dreaming City. What if they're already in the game, but they're just waiting to unlock them with something?
well, you have Ascendant challenges.
Yeah.
True.
But and
you
those
have
are time gated per
right.
What is it? A cycle of 6?
I think there's 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It was just interesting you brought up there was no adventures. The little orange.
Yeah. No, that
stuff.
is definitely interesting.
Mm.
Because a lot of the patrols, expand on the lore, but whereas those adventures kind of continue story elements and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unused space too.
Yeah.
Like
a ton of
is it Harbinger's Echo? Is that is that what it's called?
Yeah,
all the way down into like
down the stairs where where it feels like a church in there. Yeah.
Right. And then there's also on the other side, if you kept on going past the Oracle engine back to where like the story started, there's a lot of unused space, like completely unused. There's no public events that occur. There's no patrol area. The patrols will send you there to scan stuff, but that's really about it.
Right.
It'd be cool if something like that happened. I'm looking forward to Shattered Throne because this might be a week where I take a shot at solo flawless.
Yeah.
This week I've done solo. I felt more confident. I ran through it like all 3 times to try and I'll do that again this week to try and get the ship 3 weeks ago. So I felt a bit more confident in the Dolan Carter room in terms of the solo player. I might even try to do the golden gun, the solo golden gun shot the killer, but we'll see.
Yeah. Voltasass, Travis from my clan, he did the golden gun strat and it looked awesome. Like he just completely annihilated it. So
it was always a matter of ad control, and I've kind of figured out how to do the grenade kind of thing and clean up one side and just let me get the other side with a hand cannon. So we'll see.
Yeah, I gotta try and solo it myself. So
I like tether a lot in that room, but I think I've talked about that before.
Those ads are so important at the beginning. I found if I'm running some of the double grenade like Titans or if I have double, I'll throw a grenade on one side and go to me to the other side and toss a grenade over there too. That helps a lot.
Mm-hmm. Sivatech wants to know what the golden gun strat is. There are.
If you're using the entire Reverie Dawn armor set, and you get all 3 buffs from the knights, you can use Celestial Nighthawk and kill her in one shot. That's golden gun.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having to rely on Whisper the Worm and Whisper breathing and having enough time to clean everything up all in one shot. So you basically just use your Celestial. But it only kills her in one shot if you use the Reverie Dawn. And I'm pretty sure that armor counts against you as much as it helps you, right? You take more damage too, correct?
Well, if you have
switch out the mod,
yeah, if you don't put the Transcendent Blessing on, then you'll have an issue. The Transcendent Blessing, that's what you get from completing the dark purple bounties from the Ascendant. Most of the time, it's from the Ascendant
ritual.
Yeah. It's most of the time from doing like Ascendant. The Ascendant challenges each week.
Mm.
So, yeah. Well, okay. Well, we have a few questions from our audience. But Coffee 9 says, you guys may have discussed this already, but do you think that we'll meet Shin Malphur next season?
I think we do.
Yeah, I think you have to.
They put him in that quest for the Malfeasance.
Right.
You hear his voice, so
I think we have to.
And he better be wearing kilt.
That would pull people out of playing Gambit nonstop incessantly during Joker's Wild. So
yeah. Just chasing.
Yeah, I think we have to.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have a new
something.
So
new.
we don't have to, but
yeah,
it adds. I think
like a new NPC maybe, or something.
Because we need that.
Nah.
How many more NPCs can we fit in that tower, guys?
Truly.
Let's put him on a planet somewhere and forget about him after the season. But no,
well, what if he changed planets like Al-Azur, but also changed inventories Al-Azur, but was not selling crap Al-Azur?
I don't think
there's actually important to a player who has a new character.
True.
Or who didn't get to play as much. Like, I actually need Zer now that I have a brand new Warlock that doesn't have anything.
No.
Yeah, he's getting irritated by Zer now. I've learned to accept Zer for what he's for. It's fine.
Yeah.
But no,
I'm kidding. It'll be interesting to see what he does.
Yeah, I agree.
How he's involved.
I just don't think that you can have Season of the Drifter and not put Shin in there. Like, he doesn't belong anywhere else, Like,
No, not at all.
That lore belongs.
Well, he's in his book, isn't he? The Book of the Drifter?
Mm-hmm.
Shin? Yeah. Oh, yeah, we'll see him.
Carolina Gamer has a couple of questions. One of which, are you guys looking forward to playing a lot more Gambit next season? Also, we already discussed the changes coming to the bounties and the keys for leveling earlier in the episode. I think we all pretty much agreed that they'll change the race pretty fundamentally.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So I'm only looking forward to playing Gambit with Nem. And the stacking bounties and keys for leveling is going to change a little bit, but there's still so many milestones and so many ways to gain power, and only a 50 level increase, that if the milestones remain what they currently are and the powerful frames and the forge remain what they currently are, and Spider still has a powerful bounty, and we still have 3 story missions, 3 strikes, Nightfall, 2 times Nightfall, 5 Gambit games, 1 Gambit game, 1 strike, like there's just so many ways to pull one character so far forward and baby off of it that unless the raid comes out like 2 days later, I think we're going to be in the same boat personally. I really don't think it's going to change. The only way that the future of raid races changes if they actually change the launch date to a further date out, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it just, I like him, puts everybody in the same playing field. There's nothing you have to remember prior to a reset, or a new season start.
Well, let me say this too. If the raid comes out and the raid's like 725 and max level achievable is only 700, then it's going to change raid races drastically.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because right now we are all at the same pinnacle when it comes to end game activities. At least I think. I don't know if Nairobi Labs is higher than 650.
No,
But
I think
No.
it's 650.
that would make a bigger impact than staggering engrams.
Yeah, that's true.
And I would like that, honestly.
Yeah, that would be a good change. I like, yeah, especially. When was the last time we had like an activity that was tougher than what we were able to reach? Was it Leviathan?
Shattered Throne.
Shattered Throne.
Well, because
Shattered Throne was the only one that was 600, right? Because the raid was 590.
right, yeah, because that was after the raid, and then you could hop in there. That's how I leveled quick, not even done the raid. So get that first high drop, and then
Was there ever an encounter that was higher light than we could even be?
I mean, it wasn't like there doesn't have anything like if you were even one light under Crota, like
The
even
first
like
day of Black Armory.
it's so hard. Like if it just there was such a
yeah,
difference. The delta scaling was ridiculous in Crota. There's not anything like that since.
Well, like in Destiny 1, when you were in Vault of Glass, like 28 was manageable, 29 was good enough, and 30 was optimal. But if you were like 26, and there's a couple of gods out there that could do it, but trying to bring somebody who's 26 through Vault of Glass was often a challenge. You know what I mean? And I think they changed it come Crota. They moved away from that. We went from 30 to like 6 billion. Forget what the actual number was, but they were like, this number's too low to be impactful, so we're going to make it higher now. So Skolas was one of them. I prefer that.
Darbin's in chat also said the EP was initially higher than you could get.
Oh yeah. EP was
Yeah. But
What was Escalation Protocol then?
That was a 300 when we were all 270. No.
Oh, that's because it launched and it was like impossible. People were mad that it was basically impossible.
Yeah. And then they brought it down 10.
yeah, they brought it down 10.
Yeah.
And then, but everybody was already doing 9 people anyway.
Yeah, that's what that was. Got it.
Got him. Let's see. We have Carolina Gamer asks, how do you guys feel about Bungie stretching out the content release versus dropping everything at once?
I hate it.
Why do you hate it, Blue?
Takes some getting used to.
Okay, so I just don't like this. It feels empty not having a campaign. There's no. I understand we have the Dreaming City story, but that's trickled. Black Armory is cool and all, but it's not. There's no big bad to chase after. There's no campaign, man. You know, it's just I like more end game, but I would like more end game and story.
If Black Armory launched every Forge all at the same time, it wouldn't have made much sense, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like this
right, I don't necessarily mean
release
that.
wouldn't work that way.
Yeah, I don't necessarily mean Black Armory because you're right, that would make sense. But I mean, it just I don't know. I just okay, so we got the Forges, and then we're what do we have this month? Last Word. That's it.
Yeah,
we have Last Word on the 29th. You have Niobe Labs.
And
I think a lot of people forget.
Days.
Yeah, Niobe Labs happened this month.
And I don't like how they're trickling weapons. Like there's no vendor refresh, and then we get a heavy machine gun with the Dawning, just one, and now we get Last Word. Like this just seems like they're trickling out weapons. I hope that's not what they're going with going forward. That's all.
I think that there is a way. So what Forsaken did really well was they introduced a way for us to have a story that moves over time. A la the curse, the whole cycle of the whole 3-week cycle. It seems like it's still something that I really look forward to every 3 weeks, is seeing how that progresses, seeing how we move forward in that space. And it's compelling and a living version of the story. What I guess I would want more of out of a release like this, because I think the idea was novel, of just saying, hey guys, over a season you're gonna get stuff. It's gonna be awesome, and you're going to be able to work towards it each week. But like you said, there wasn't really like much story there in the way of adventures or missions or anything along those lines. I feel like if they each week they had like a small like adventure or story, something that just kind of pushed forward little by little, incrementally, to tell a story over a season, it would make them matter more, and I think it would keep people engaged a little bit more than what we have currently.
Yeah,
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Black Armory is uncomfortable. That's the only way I can describe it. No story that I can find easily within the game. Like if I have to go and read a bunch of stuff, that, gotta be honest, it's just not going to happen. Like if it's buried in lore somewhere, I might find it on Ishtar Commander 3 months from now.
Yeah.
But there's nothing in the game that kind of talks about how we got here. The end game activity rewards, we're talking about a handful of weapons. Only arguably one is the most powerful out of all of them, which is the blast furnace. You got the Kindle Orchid in there. You've got 2 really, really cool exotics. The Yotun is an amazing weapon, but it still feels uncomfortable. Like it still feels lacking. And combined with the fact that it really made us just do what we were already doing for the past X number of months. Like I kind of wanted something different to do than kill a couple of trash mobs, go talk to Ada, go do this glorified public event. Because that's all that the Forge is. It's a glorified public event. So I kind of just feel like it left me wanting more. And maybe it's because I haven't, again, I said this earlier, maybe because I haven't done Niobe Labs yet.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten the full experience out of it yet.
We have to wonder, okay, so there's going to be a light increase or a power increase or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Next season to fit it to 700. So what are we doing to get to 700? We just grinding the same strikes again? The same public events? We just doing that again? You know? Or is there going to be content that's going to carry us up to that 700? It's going to be fulfilling and be like, okay, I didn't have to really do the same old stuff because there's something new to do.
I think you're always going to have to do the same old stuff. I don't think that changes. What is Destiny? It's us running the same activities over and over again. The way that they do it interesting, like they can do it in an interesting way, is what they did with Forsaken and the Dreaming City. It's like, oh, we're stuck in this loop.
Well, even new strikes.
Yeah.
Like, what's a dude got to do to get a new strike? When was the last time new strikes were introduced? I mean, they came with Forsaken, right?
Forsaken, yeah.
A couple new ones came with Forsaken. So, like, maybe it's time to drop a couple more strikes on us, some more strike-specific loot on top of that. God, like, I just don't know what's in the budget and what Bungie was allowed to put together for it. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
rolling content is just uncomfortable. I don't know how else to describe it.
I agree.
Yeah. Nick, what are your thoughts?
You guys pretty much echoed pretty much everything that I think on it. It is uncomfortable. We're not used to it. I think one of the best ways that I heard it described recently was if you sort of put it in a vacuum outside of outside of Forsaken, it's not great content. If you use it as an additive to Forsaken and say, hey, now do that, like you did all these things. Okay, now here's a few more to do in X amount of time. It makes Forsaken better in a way. So, but yes, to Aura's points, like the story didn't make much sense. I had to watch one of I think it's or Mylan's lore videos to have it click that something that happened in the raid had to deal with some other thing. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it mattered. And I was like, why did that not click for me when I was listening to the audio from Ada? And it made sense. Well, because they're, so you get like one line a week or something, if that, about the progress of as you unlock forges. So, but yeah, no, no strikes, no vendor rerolls. This is the stuff that makes me wonder if it's going to be like a staggered approach and that this next content season introduces strikes and stuff like that, so that you now have this bundle of 2 seasons, which are not so much story oriented stuff, but a bunch of stuff you can go and replay and do and and who knows if they add more frames to that and whatever. And then, while this came out and whatever, I don't know how development cycles work, but and if this one ends up being more of that content that we've had previously to grind out those things for the steps for the forges, whatever that is, to find that happy medium, like I'm genuinely curious if this season changes with the content that does come, and not just going back and redoing all the same stuff over again.
Mm-hmm.
So you say that Destiny is doing the same stuff over and over again. I'm fine with that.
Historically, yes.
But okay, and I'm fine with that. But here, so what if okay, so can you imagine a game? Remember a couple seasons ago when Zavala had his rank, he had rank and you could get a ship from him at rank 50?
I gotta step away for one moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember when Zavala had the ship you could get at rank 50? It was a cool exotic ship.
Yeah.
And you had and you turned in engrams and you ranked up with him. That went away. Why? Why couldn't you give that to every planetary vendor and have them have certain specific armor and weapons that you unlock at rank? Like you reach rank 30 with Grumpy Asshole and Io, whatever his name is, or Anna Bray or something like that. Like you rank up with them and you get armored weapons you unlock as you rank up.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did those things in those carrots in different ways. Like vendor rerolls and whatnot aren't there, but we've got a breakneck, we've got a loaded question, we've got whatever the grenade launcher is. So I think they took these things that would have been in situations like that, and they distribute them across other areas that are involved in playing the game more so than going to a vendor and purchasing. So we got new weapons with
the
Forsaken,
Forges.
Because the Crucible got a shotgun that for a minute everybody thought was gonna be really good.
Mm-hmm.
Zavala he had a Toil and Trouble last season.
Yes.
And he had the bounty for the Nightshade that kind of added the Nightshade to the loot pool.
Yeah.
You re-rolled. So I feel like those carrots do exist. I feel like they've been distributed in different ways. We talk about Arms Day a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about the arms dealer and how they're underutilized quite a bit. I just feel like they gave what you're talking about to us in a different way. And as far as the planetary ranks and whatnot, man, it is grueling to go to IO and to do these bounties and to do these patrols, to go to Mars and do a patrol. It's like kill 20 scions and there's 3 scions in the map, and somebody starts escalation protocol and all the scions disappear. And it's there's certain things that make farming the planetary materials so backbreaking. You know what I mean? I feel like Bungie got a lot of backlash for Matt's grinding when it came to the exotic swords in Destiny 1. They don't ever want to do something like that again. And I'm all for it because I love going. I love Titan. Titan's one of my favorite places to be. It's even though it's so small, it's so cool. Yeah. So I don't mind going there and just destroying a bunch of things over and over again. But to put ranks in, and maybe they even do, because I think aren't you able to unlock the armor as you turn in more packages? You're able to acquire the full gear set. I think that's how it works.
Set. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just, I don't know. That's not what I picture in my head, but I don't know how to put it. But you're right. You're not wrong. I just honestly, the biggest thing I want back, I just pine for the end of year 1 or 3, on Destiny 1, when the vendors had different rolls every week.
Every week, yeah.
Yeah, that was the best.
Yeah.
It was so awesome. And now we have these vendors in the tower. What are they even doing there? They don't even serve any purpose at all. You can't even get any.
I mean, they're talking to me.
Armor.
They're talking to me. They're keeping me from being lonely in the tower. You
had Shaxx and you had the Crucible Quartermaster.
Yeah.
Quartermaster's just
Quartermaster. Right, exactly, man. That was cool.
Weren't they divvied by armor and weapons?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
He's
had
working IT now.
Your factions that were there full time that you were able to go and grab gear from.
It was always cool to log in and go see what New Monarchy had, or go see what Future War Cult had. They got a rocket launcher.
Palindrome, your God Roll Pantaray in year 2 that nobody even knew existed.
Yeah. I mean, you still have those things in Destiny 1 still rolling, even, I believe. Yes.
Only a portion of year 1.
But
and I don't think any of the faction gear comes back.
But I don't know. It's interesting. I'm hoping that we see a little bit more meat on the bones. Carolina asked earlier, are we greedy? Because
100%.
Absolutely. But I think it's a situation where we've definitely been kind of taught this.
I don't think we're greedy at all.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
Bungie set their own bar. How can we be greedy if we didn't get something like this already? So to me, it just seems like we've it's not us wanting more. because that
Mhm.
would be greed. It's kind of us wanting things to be similar to how they had been in the past, in my opinion. I
Mhm.
don't think that we as a community are saying this, like, we want more than what we've gotten in the past. I think what we're really asking for is similar things that we've gotten in the past that we feel are missing the mark. And Black Armory, make no mistake about it, when I think of Black Armory in comparison to the Dark Below or what is the Wolves one, the House of Wolves,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it feels incredibly lackluster compared to what we had gotten, and I believe it is supposed to, because it's a content rollout, not a content drop. But even that, even the rollout itself, when all is said and done, which is where we're at right now, feels lackluster.
Yeah.
So I'm more interested to see, and I would have to go back and look at the calendar of what was the longevity of time that one of those expansions had lasted. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I thought it was every 3
Ugh.
months,
Well,
September to December. I don't remember
Well,
when House of Wolves.
Yeah, House of Wolves came out in spring.
yeah.
But then, like, Taken King Year, we didn't get anything until spring.
Until
Right. Yeah, I know there was a huge drought. So my point
and
is
another one between
measuring using those comparisons to be actually like accurate, you know what I mean, within the same time frames of
Mhm.
something. So, is it a bit of an unfair comparison to be making the judgment right now after 3 months, given that we haven't had the next 3 months yet? Maybe.
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out at the end of the next 3 months. If and when at that time, I think it's absolutely fair and no holds barred to say whether or not this is either great, yes, please please keep giving us content this way, or sorry, we like the old way. Like,
Yeah.
not that we're going to get it back or anything, but just maybe finding that middle ground. But I think a lot of this, and I think what a lot of people are getting, is that this is, and I'm so glad they wrote the statement when they I think it was when they opened up Niobe, is that like all of this is going to be, we're going to learn and we're going
Mhm.
to fail on some things, but we're going to listen to you guys. We're going to go back and we're going to do them the right way.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of this is just a lot of unfamiliarity, and people, when we don't recognize things or if it's different, we get scared, and
Yeah.
we don't like change. That's just human behavior. So I think we need more time to really, or me personally, I need more time to really give it a fair assessment, like
Mhm.
compare it to other things. But
I do
I
agree with
don't know.
that, but I think that the average consumer doesn't think like we do
No, they don't.
because we take in content and we have time to analyze it because we're with it all the time. We build this relationship with the
Mhm.
content. I think that games like Anthem are coming out and Division 2 and yada yada. So, like, I think next season is important for Destiny 2 because it's going to determine whether a lot of people, especially casual gamers, will be like, well, I could put my time into Destiny, but there's really not that much to do there. Or I could go over here to this new game where everything's shiny and new and put my time into this game,
Yeah.
So that's a big deal for Bungie, honestly.
No, 100% is.
Yeah.
And I've wondered this since, for the past year, since this whole discussion of casuals versus the hardcores,
Mhm.
has been the main discussion. I wonder if it's going to be a game for casuals anymore. Like,
Yeah.
that's a very real question. It might not be. It might end up being where, like, yeah, it shoots great, but it's not the only looter shooter.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if you don't have that amount of, like, I don't play WoW.
Yeah.
I don't like that because, so I keep my ass out of WoW. Like, so it's like, if you don't, you know what I mean, though, but I don't have the time to invest into that type of a thing. So I love an MMORPG. I play, play Black Desert. I'll play, what did I hop on? A couple. My point is if you're not willing to invest the time, like, there's no room for complaints around it. It's maybe on the game that it used to be, but
Mhm.
with their independent, with their independence now and everything, I begin to wonder, a lot of this stuff is like, okay, who are we making the game for, guys?
Yeah.
I think when you talk about casuals, the way that they've implemented catch-up mechanics when it comes to power level, I feel like they're in tune with that, and they're going to
Mhm.
give people who don't play as often every opportunity to get caught up in terms of power level. It might not be applicable to gear sets. You know what I mean? You might
Yeah.
not be able to get the best guns if you don't grind out some of the quests and some of the stuff. But I feel like in terms of being able to step in and enjoy the content itself, I think Bungie's has been and will continue to do a pretty good job in that situation, just in terms of the casual player.
Have you guys? I'm glad you brought that up because I don't know anybody who's been utilizing it that much.
Dan did.
No, heavily.
Yeah. So have you guys experienced it then? Have the drops been pretty good for those under what was it, under 600 to get you up to 600?
It was pretty staggering.
Real quick.
Yeah, it was about like, I want to say 30 light levels each week. Like,
oh wow,
just running everything and playing
Prime
through powerful
Engram drop rate.
Yeah, Prime Engram drop rates. Like,
that's good then.
Pretty consistent over that period of time that I was hitting like maybe like 25 to 30 light levels each week with that. If not maybe a little bit more.
And you talk about, like, when you mentioned Anthem and you mentioned Division 2, and they're not any less grindy from a scratching the surface idea thought process. You know, I if anything, they might even offer more. It might even get to a level of like Warframe kind of thing. And I think Destiny, in terms of time investment, kind of is on the lower end of things in order to stay relevant within the game compared to those. Like, the way that Anthem at least feels out of the VIP demo, like, there was already a ton of things going on, a ton of communication in the background about builds and whatnot. I'm not sure what game is out there that there's, you know, are we talking Fortnite, where you just jump on and you play and nothing much matters? Like, because if I don't see the casual Destiny player getting upset and going and playing Fortnite.
No.
Where you're stepping into where the grind in Fortnite isn't the gear you get, but how good everybody who plays the game is. It's a different, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
No,
like there's no grind in Fortnite, but the guys who play the game are insanely good at it. Yeah, so you're taking your grind of gear and you're applying it to in-game skill. That's grind, and if anything, it's even more staggering. So I don't know where the gamer ends up playing the Switch, Mario Odyssey. I don't know. It's a good game, dude. Don't knock my. It's a really good game.
Not at all.
No, the grinds are just different. I think, and just off the top of my head, thinking about it, given that the Anthem demo was very small, one thing I didn't see that allows, I think, where my mind goes, at least with time investment in Destiny for loadouts, min-maxing, stuff like that, is element damage, modifiers, etc. Things, the unknowns. That's where I think thinking becomes involved for strat wise. What I didn't see any of that in Anthem. I didn't see anything where I need a certain element to break a certain type of shield, or if it's going to be better against something, or it was just a straight linear number that was like, and as long as I max it out, I'm doing most damage. That could be me to not paying attention, stuff like that. But I think, I don't know, that's a direct 1-to-1, obviously. But yeah, I mean, they're all, regardless, I think they're all time investments. It'll be interesting to see Destiny adjust based on games being released and the new approach they're taking to content cycles.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of looter shooters coming out, boys.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This is the season of the looter shooter.
Which isn't a bad thing.
Do you guys want to do one or two more questions?
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Sounds good. Nathan Anderson asks, is it safe to assume that most of the content for season 6 is already done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, I think so.
It has to. Done by a what's going to ship standpoint. Anything that's not done would be little tunes here and there, but content itself, in my opinion, is probably done like months and months and months ago.
Agree.
It was probably done around when Forsaken dropped. You know, I at least I feel like they are months ahead of time, ahead of schedule, and you almost have to be, because that would allow you the time to make the change and make sure it still functions. In my opinion, yes.
Yeah, I agree. Do you remember that Vidoc they showed at the beginning of Forsaken and stuff, and they showed what they were working on ahead. They talked about Black Army, and it showed someone sitting at a computer working on the sniper. But I mean, who knows when that footage is from? That could have been from 3 months before the Vidoc was made, you know?
It's from 8 years ago. That man now has a full-grown child.
Right. So I'm just saying, who knows? Like, but I do agree. I think this stuff's it's more than done. I would agree.
Yeah,
I would like to hope so. The only thing that comes to mind with that being said, I think, was what they had said in that Niobe Labs statement, was that they were taking a lot of what was happening right now into account for next season. Now, whether that's related to the actual content or how they release something is I would imagine that it's, it's just another ambiguity on their sentences and word structure that Bungie loves to do.
Yeah.
That spoke directly to the fact that they launched Black Armory and people weren't high enough power level or to enjoy it. And they were like, okay, that was a mistake. You didn't want to go back and do your milestones before you stepped into the new content. That's a misstep on our part, which blew my mind.
That one unlocking the forge behind Niobe.
Right. So so I think like if any changes were made, it would have been again like tuning. We're gonna make the power level when you start your Joker's Wild like 655, 660, so that you stand a fighting chance in what you do instead of making it 675 and you walk in and you get one shot by a dreg. Like I think, in my opinion, that's what they were specifically talking about. And because if you were a solo player trying to do Volunder Forge on day one at 600, you got your ass kicked. No matter how good you were, you pretty much got your ass kicked. So
I was not a happy boy.
No, I think a lot. Well, they lowered the power level because people were so mad. But what they didn't do is increase the power level of the other forges.
Yeah,
they were like a straight linear 625 across the board, which I thought was a misstep in the other direction. But we'll see.
Thanks, Forge.
Yeah, everything except for Bakugia.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It would make sense if everything was done already. Although it seems they had already been kind of working on this plan, this exit strategy with Activision previously, because there's no way that you would do something that major and not have some groundwork rolling. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm gonna say that a majority of it's done. They might like try to slip in like a few things here and there just to kind of tease out what they're planning next, because we still don't know.
When are Xur bounties? Are those next season?
Should be
March.
Yeah, March with the season
spring.
Of season of the Drifter. I don't know. Like I would like to think that they have enough time to maybe like sneak some things in there, but I don't expect anything outside of like maybe a like a lore tab that you can pick up somewhere. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Some glowing items on the ground.
Yeah. What the hell are these?
Right.
What's this about Savathun? Aussie Gamer 12 asks, and this will be the last question for the evening. What are your personal opinions on the ammo drops in the game with the system? Do you feel like they need to bring back the heavy ammo and special ammo synths, or bring out banners for you to place down at the start of Nightfall strikes and acquire full ammo, like they do for the raid?
I'd be cool with either. I miss synth.
Man,
so
their purpose too.
My question in relation to this is, how are you building your character? Are you saving armor that has the scavenger and the reserves perks that you like to run? And I find vastly that the answer to that question is no. I just want to continuously have ammo when there's, and this isn't like a fix, because what ends up happening is I'll play around a gambit, I'll have heavy ammo finder on, and for one round all I get is heavy ammo bricks. I don't see another for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So, but there are systems in place that help you in the open world settings, and so I'm not like 100% fine with it, but I'm also not like bitching and complaining I'm not getting ammunition. I kind of want to see people taking more advantage of what the system in place is, and then once they've done that, bringing it to Bungie's attention, saying, "Hey, I played a whole round of Gambit, all I got was power ammo. The next 2 rounds I didn't get any, so the system works, but not as intended."
Yeah.
I've got all that stuff on my builds. I haven't had many problems with ammo. I remember I did prior to utilizing a bunch of that stuff. And Moxie, to your point earlier about the cores not having an issue, like that's part of the problem though for mine personally, and why I'm lacking on a lot of enhancement cores is because I do a lot of building of sets for all 3 characters. And I'm talking like different sets, because sometimes I'll like to run a sniper and sometimes I love to run a shotgun, but sometimes that sniper that I like to run might be in the heavy slot versus the energy slot or whatever it might be. I want to make sure I got scavengers and reserves and everything, all of those builds. And I haven't had too many problems with ammo personally. So I think, or you make a great point, like just utilize what's there and then give the feedback. And if it's still lacking, make adjustments then. But I don't think enough people utilize the system in place to make that assessment right now.
I have one set of gear that I use all the time for everything. And it's because I want my hunter to look good, feel good, and smell good. And it like at
Fashion
all times.
over function, baby. Fashion over function.
At all times. But I still have 2 heavy ammo finders on it. So I'm good.
You're good.
I don't need to do anything else. I just need
put 2 scavengers on something and then you're set.
Yeah. It's not bad, man.
Especially
my Titan looks I've almost
Is it
put
dopey?
ugly shaders on it like on purpose. It's so ugly.
Thick boy.
Mismatched armor. Some of the armor is from like the Spire of Stars raid, so the gauntlets are just like
mustard yellow.
Sky. It's just atrocious the way my character looks, but it functions perfectly.
My hunter on Xbox has the Scatterhorn cloak, which looks like you're trying to fly a kite.
Open code. It's literally an open code.
Yeah, exactly. It's just you've got a kite on your back and you're just wanting to take off eventually. You're not going to.
I don't have to look at my Guardian. It's kind of like when I had a souped up really nice car. I was like, I don't even get to look at it. I'm driving it. Like everyone else gets to see it. So y'all can look at my really, really ugly Titan.
That's a good philosophy. I like that.
I don't know, man.
You know,
customization in Anthem, dude.
Yeah.
At least you get to see your javelin. You know, you see your javelin in Anthem, unless you're not running in the social space when you're walking slower than a snail's pace.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think that's the thing that I had the most time in during that demo. Was just like, well, this is fun to just kind of leisurely pace around.
What you mean the most time wasn't spent restarting it over?
Just show you how much faster you are inside your javelin. That's all it's for. It's just
if I can
it looks
just
comfortable inside that javelin, by the way. Very plush.
Yeah, it doesn't look claustrophobic at all.
Snug would be the word.
I was gonna say intestinal, but okay.
No, inside that fort's like the beginning of Division when you have to walk into the medical base or whatever, and you walk in that base, that slow ass.
Oh
walk.
yeah, that slow walk.
It's basically a loading screen. Yeah, it's like that, but times 1,000.
Yeah.
So there's also there was the thing with Anthem. I'm sorry that we're getting on this Anthem thing. We should be closing out the show, but it was interesting how it was the exact opposite of Destiny, where it was first person in the tower or in the and then third person out in the world. It's a very weird juxtaposition.
Simple concept sell, man.
I had fun with Anthem, dude. I enjoyed it. Got a little repetitious at the end. A lot of the public events were the same thing. But I enjoyed my time with that game. We'll see if it becomes something I pursue in the future. I don't know if it'd be something that would be good to stream, but it sure as hell something good to play.
It felt cool when I was able to run it. Like I ran it. I tried running it off stream, and I got in, and I started flying around. And I was like, I feel like a badass the entire time that I'm in this thing. But then I started getting like rubber banding real hard, like where I would start flying and I would fly as far as I could. I would accidentally touch something and I would end up back in the corner where I started from.
I'm hopeful they have all that stuff optimized by launch.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Definitely don't count them out yet. Don't count them out yet.
That's gonna be a good game, I think.
Yeah, that's massive potential.
Yeah,
massive.
Did you see that they unlocked all 4, by the way?
Yeah.
Javelin stuff. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
The
Thank you.
demo just ended. Damn it. All right. Anyways.
No, 2 a.m., dude.
It's like,
2 a.m.
Gotta go.
Well, I think that is about it from us here at the Planet Destiny team. Thank you guys so much for watching. Before we go, we're going to go around and tell you all where we are from on the internet, starting with our guest, Nick. Nick, tell everybody where they can find you on the internet, man.
Yeah, you can find me at Nick Regis on Twitter. It's the only one that is different from Regis. Otherwise, you can pretty much Google Niris, Niris, and you'll find me. Niris on Twitch, Niris.tv. That'd be it. That'd be about it.
Excellent. Blue, where can people find you?
Twitch, twitch.tv/blue_moxie. Twitter is at BlueMoxie2 because BlueMoxie1 was taken. Son of a bitch. And yeah, I go on Instagram sometimes, but I don't put enough. It doesn't matter. Don't follow me on there. It's lame. Yeah, Twitch and Twitter. Oh, I'm playing a Destiny 10 to 3 on Sundays.
Figures to be Moxie and not Blue.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Aura. Where can people find you?
My name is Aura. You can find me on Twitch basically 7 days a week. Twitch.tv/Aura. You can find me on Twitter, formerly known as Evil Aura, but on Twitter I still have it. 3VIL_AURA.
So good.
You can also find my pitbull Layla on Instagram. Layla on Twitch. She's really cute.
She's a cute little doggo.
Yeah, she's really cute. Yeah, she's not little.
Well, I mean, yeah. But what's she up to right now?
Well, she's down. She's down to 67 pounds, but
I mean activity wise, but okay.
right now. She's probably with Mama Dukes.
Got him.
Guys, I'm Danfinity. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Danfinity. You can find me here on the PD Twitch channel on Thursdays or Fridays, depending on my work schedule. Also, you can find me on Twitter, twitter.com/DanFlannelty. You figure it out from there. But outside of that, yeah, that's the end of our show. Thank you all so much for coming and hanging out, and have an excellent rest of your weekend. Goodbye.